I have questions. So, how do you get buy-in when teams push back on governance without
Yeah.
sounding like the cloud police?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So for me, I'm in charge of making sure that every dollar that goes into our cloud spend, there's an ROI on that, right? I'm also responsible for making sure that there's not too many security compliance like violations within an account. So to getting buy-in doesn't happen when friction happens. Getting buy-in happens way before that. Getting buy-in, as soon as you start your role, you should figure out who are the parties that you'll be working with, and you should start already doing rapid risk assessments where you're getting to know these people. Hey, I just put some time in the calendar. I'm working on this compliance out of the house here. I just want to build rapport with you, get to know you, and really just understand the initiative that you got going on. Now, when you're advising on risk, right? They know that, hey, I know what your program is doing. I know what your application, what this initiative is about. I'm in support of that, right? Now, when they know that and that relationship is built, now you can have an educated conversation, and you could push back and play that little game of tug of war. It doesn't always have to be adversarial. It's adversarial when you guys got no relationship. The first time I'm talking to y'all is when there's a compliance violation, right? You want to make sure that you're not always gonna know everybody within the company, but having a relationship with those key players across different teams, across different initiatives, I think that from my experience that's helped out a lot. Because for example, I'll get a scenario where there's like a file storage that's unencrypted, and this specific, application, this team, they have multiple file storages not encrypted. And because I've already built a relationship with them on other events, like let's just say they had their cloud bill that was too high, and they had EC2s, like virtual machines running 24/7, where really, they didn't need those virtual machines to run 24/7. And we've addressed that before. But like now I'm meeting them again, I'm like, oh, it's Abdie, he's got our back. I think the people that you're working with, they need to know that you're here to support them, you're here to advise them, and you want to champion them. Because sometimes another thing I've noticed with some folks too is that you just send a bunch of documentation to them. I get it. People should do their homework. People should be reading. But people, including myself, are lazy. We don't want to read. We don't want to read, especially if it's like a 20-page documentation, right? So having like a 15-minute call saying, hey, here's how you do this. Like, you don't want to use for example, here's a part of cloud governance, right? Cloud governance, you want to make sure that you're addressing shadow IT. Shadow IT is a big deal. From a security lens, it's a big deal. From a cost lens, like business lens, it's a big deal. From an operational lens, it's a big deal. So addressing, like let's say someone doesn't know how to decommission their AWS account, right? The last person using it, they got fired, they got laid off, or the team's not even using it anymore, right? And we got a bunch of servers in that account just running. That's some security risk right there. We don't even know who owns it anymore. What's going on, right? And if I need to address that with them, instead of sending them a bunch of documentation on how to do it, say, hey, let's hop on a 15-minute call. Let's decommission this account together. That, in my opinion, is how you do effective security, effective GRC.
But that takes a skill set, like you said, the technical skill set.
This is true.
To teach them or walk them through how to decommission the server properly, because you have the skill set. Versus you sending them documentation because you don't know how to do it, but you know what the directions say to point them to.
That is true. That is completely different. Yeah, we just send them documentation. I don't know what the documentation said, but apparently this works. Yeah, that's definitely different than hopping on a call and walking them through and showing them the dependencies. Like, all right, first you want to delete this, then delete this. That's a good point. Mic drop. Mic drop again.
See, and that's why I like a tool like Loom, because you can just make a walkthrough and they can just watch it or show you when they watched it. They can ask questions at different parts of the video. But of course, a lot of companies, they don't really want to use the third-party stuff all the time because they just want to know, well, who has the data? Because Loom uses a lot of AI and stuff. Like, put it like this. Let's say you wanted, remember earlier how I was talking about the issue with no documentation?
Yeah.
With Loom,
which is a big issue across the whole every company. Like no matter what company you work at, any business you work with, documentation is a challenge.
So with Loom, you can record the decommission process.
Yeah.
And it has functionality inside the actual tool that'll say, "Hey, turn this into an SOP." So now,
just off that recording,
yeah,
and it's a clean SOP, formatted sections.
It does everything. It transcribes calls, helps people with action items from the call.
Interesting.
It can make blog posts out of stuff. It's a tool I've been using for a while, and I always like go somewhere like, this could have been a Loom. I mean, I ain't have to listen to this right now. You can speed the speed up, 1.5, 2x.
Yeah.
So that's where I think I like the productivity side of AI.
Yeah.